So although this video may be a little bit dated, it's important that I discuss it because I actually mentioned it in a recent video and I wanted to elaborate further. And we're going to be discussing a very common misconception that you probably still believe today, which is body types or somatotypes, whatever you want to tickle it. Joanna many years ago did a video talking about how to exercise and diet correctly for your body type. And I'm going to basically throw it in the bin and debunk so many of the claims made because quite frankly, it's nonsense, and if you do believe it, I hope you stop believing it after this video. If at any point throughout this entire video you do just like anything I've said, I would appreciate it if you did subscribe to the channel, as it does mean a lot to me, and I thank you in advance.
Typically, there are three dominant body types: ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph.
No.
Your daily exercise, diet habits, lifestyle, and even metabolic changes through pregnancy or menopause can skew your body type. So if you are uncertain where you fit in, just think about how you look like in your late teens or early 20s.
Double no. So firstly, body types genuinely do not exist. This has been debunked many years ago and has been heavily disproven. It's not a thing. Sure, we have a genetic makeup and structure, absolutely, but this doesn't segment us or categorize us into certain body types, especially the three being labeled below. When she says, obviously, look at how you used to look when you were in your teens and how you look now, realistically, as people get older, people tend to slow down. They tend to do less. When you're a teen, you're out playing around, doing loads of great things, running around school, doing so many activities, and just being very active and sociable. When you get a little bit older, you tend to be less active. And that's what typically one of the contributing factors to why many people will, for example, gain weight when they're older, because they're probably eating as much or maybe even more, who knows, and just doing less. They're maybe getting extra calories in through a glass of wine or two at dinner every night, but maybe not being as active with their friends.
Ectomorphs. Simply put, these are people who seem to eat whatever they want and never gain any weight because they have a fast and high metabolism. They are usually thin and lanky.
We've all looked at people and be like, wow, how do you eat so much and never gain any weight? Firstly, the people that we tend to look at are typically usually a little bit taller, as she's mentioning here, maybe lanky. And that then in turn does mean that BMR may be higher. As height is probably the biggest influencer when it comes to basal metabolic rate, or at least one of the biggest. Secondly, they don't eat like that every day. When you see someone who just packs away loads of food at a restaurant, they're not packing away loads of food at a restaurant every single day of their life. They probably have one massive meal out and probably don't eat to that extreme typically throughout their normal days. And when it comes to weight gain and weight loss, weekly is far more important than daily. Having one massive meal once in a blue moon is not going to suddenly make you very fat. If you eat in a calorie surplus for an extended period of time over weeks and months and months and months, yeah, you probably will. But again, it's weekly over daily.
You find that you gain fat so easily just by eating a small chocolate bar, but you struggle to lose weight.
Ultimately, fat gain and fat loss is going to really come down to calories in versus calories out. If you're short, your maintenance calories are probably going to be lower, which means your deficit calories are probably going to be pretty low as well. If you're tall, your maintenance calories are probably going to be higher, which means your deficit calories are probably going to be higher too. Your body type or somatotype, which doesn't exist, does not influence that. Genuinely is largely genetic, which is heavily going to be influenced by how tall are you, how active are you, how much tissue mass do you have, be that fat mass or muscle mass. These are all things that are going to influence how much you will need to eat on a daily basis to lose weight or gain weight. If you find you eat one chocolate bar and you gain weight like that, chances are you're eating more than just one chocolate bar. And you're probably doing that quite regularly. If you feel like you can eat loads and never gain weight, chances are you're probably not eating as much as you think you are, especially not as consistently or as regularly as you think you are. When I was 19 years old, I weighed 180 pounds. And I was pretty lean. And I just couldn't gain weight despite me lifting loads of weights and thinking I was on the high protein diet and whatnot. Then I started tracking my food and said, you know what, I'm just going to make a real effort to really go for it. Found out I was only eating about 2,000 calories a day. I was like, that's not enough. Let me make an effort to bump that up. Then from 19 to 21 years old, I gained 20 kilos, which is about 45 pounds. What happened there? I was lifting as often as I was before. I actually just started tracking my food accurately and being really consistent. I gained weight. I gained loads of muscle. I got really strong. It was bloody fantastic. And if you look at the photos of me when I was a teenager, you'd be like, wow, you were born to be thin and lanky. And despite feeling thin and lanky to this day, because I am 6'3", I still weigh nearly 250 pounds. Can't be that thin, although every time I look in the mirror, my eyes convince me that I have never lifted a day in my life. Maybe I should process that in therapy. Link down below is a link to apply for TFNL coaching. So if you want to be coached by me and want me to help you achieve your goals, whatever they may be and wherever you may be in the world, Click the link, fill in the application form, and let's hop on a Zoom call and see what can be done. As always, link down below in the description and maybe even the comment section too.
Your training should be focused on strength and hypertrophy, which is to build muscle. In order to gain strength and size, you want to be lifting heavy.
Your body type, which doesn't exist, does not determine what type of training you do or should do. What determines what type of training you should do is your goals. If you want to be a powerlifter, you should probably lift like a powerlifter. If you want to be a marathon runner, you should probably train and lift like a marathon runner. Again, your body type does not change that. Again, it's very goal specific and goal dependent. So remember that. Don't listen to this.
The weights should be heavy enough for you to only be lifting between 6 to 10 reps.
You can gain muscle and develop strength in pretty much any rep range. You can build muscle doing 3 reps, you can build muscle doing 30 reps, you can get stronger doing 3 reps, you can get stronger doing 30 reps.
Follow a simple routine with heavy compound movements and minimal isolation movements per muscle group.
I've actually had a few conversations about this recently. I dislike this. No, compound movements are not better for building muscle than isolation movements. Honestly, throw that in the bin. Very outdated belief. How effective a movement is for building muscle largely depends on its ability to target that muscle effectively and how hard you can actually push that movement. A seated leg curl for the hamstrings, an isolation movement, but fantastic for developing the hamstrings. Not a compound or multi-joint movement, but it's arguably one of the best movements in my opinion because it targets the hamstrings very well and you can push it really hard without being limited by an external variable such as stability or another weak link in the chain being another fatiguing muscle which is not the muscle you're hoping to target, in this case being the hamstrings.
Your calorie intake should be 700 to 1000 calories more than what your body needs to maintain your current body weight.
Do not do this. Do not eat 1,000 calories over your maintenance. You're just going to get quite fat relatively quickly, to be honest with you. Honestly, a small surplus of like 10%, let's say 200 to 300 calories, is more than enough to provide sufficient additional energy to help, hopefully, drive more progression in the gym, which can hopefully help build more muscle mass whilst limiting too much fat gain. If you eat 1,000 calories more, that's not going to accelerate how much muscle mass you are gaining or building during this surplus period. But what it will do is accelerate how much fat mass you are gaining during this period, which is just going to be something you're going to have to address later down the line. A small surplus is more than enough, like I said. 10%, let's say 200 to 300 calories, that's plenty. 1,000 is excessive, we don't want that.
If you lead a sedentary lifestyle, get moving and incorporate exercising as part of your daily routine. You need to do what's right for your body and not blame it on genetics.
To be fair, that's actually a really valid point. If you are overweight and wish to lose weight, move more, eat less, don't blame your genetics. That's actually really valid, I respect that. Basically, the conclusion of this video is this. Body types and somatotypes do not exist. Throw them in the bin and do not use them as a justification as to why you are how you are. Things are changeable. If you're overweight, you can lose weight. That is doable. It may not be easy, don't get me wrong, but it is pretty simple. Eat less, move more. If you want to build more muscle, train better, train harder, maybe eat some more food. Whatever battle you are facing when it comes to your fitness goals and progression or lack thereof potentially, is usually fixable. And you should train not based on your body type, but based on your goals. And you should eat also not based on your body type, but based on your goals as well. So do not stress about that. I know it's an old video, but this belief still lingers to this day. Videos like this do promote a lot of misinformation, but thankfully, that's kind of what my channel's about, debunking misinformation. Those are just my thoughts and opinions, and I'd love to hear yours in the comment section below. So do let me know. What are your thoughts and opinions surrounding body types? Until the next one, thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating my waffle and my complaining. And thank you for tolerating the video.